All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to another Fantasy Fishing Live here on the Serious Angler Network. Tonight, I will be your host, the Captain, Andrew Full, and I'm joined by Adam Deakin on my right, I think it is, left, and then Jake Boomer down below, and Justin will be here shortly. Bailey decided to jump out on us tonight and go to dinner with some folks down in the southeast, and hopefully he stays safe from the Hurricane Barry that is affecting a bunch of people down there. But thanks for joining, guys, and soon we'll be here with Justin. But Lake Champlain, the northern swing, smallmouth, largemouth are at play. It's an exciting time of year. Hot AOI race, very tight at the top, which I feel like we haven't had a tight AOI race in a few years. So looking forward to discuss that. And we have an awesome special guest / correspondent here joining us shortly. And but we got to break down Smith Lake first, the last Bassmaster Elite event that happened. And I feel like it's been a while since we've been all together. So what's up, guys?
I'm going to be honest. I'm like thinking back through of like what happened at Smith. It feels like it was forever ago.
It literally was. Like I can vividly remember a few like crazy catches. Like there's the Steve Kennedy glide bait catch, and it seemed like there was a lot of like deep offshore scoping for spots. But other than that, like I don't really remember much of it, to be honest.
I kind of feel like we were all doing something. Like that was a big week or something. It's not like it was ICAST, but
it was a weekend before 4th of July, or like a weekend and a half before 4th.
Yeah. And everybody was gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's new with you guys?
I don't know, Boomer. You go first.
Just fishing. I actually got to hang out with Adam last week. Was it last week? Last weekend.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. The West Coast swing, and Adam came up and shot some videos, followed us around, and did a podcast. It was pretty cool. Got to fish my favorite body of water, Boardman, Oregon, on the Columbia River, which was really cool. So
very underappreciated fishery in the United States. You know, I'm still really upset that the Elites canceled that Western swing when they were going to go to the Columbia. I used to talk to a guy who lived out there in Oregon. He passed away a couple months ago by the name of Rusty Bell. And all he did was talk about how great the Columbia River was. And he's like, if you ever get a chance, it's the only place you should fish if you come out here. And I was like, oh. But yeah, and then I recently found out that he passed. And I was like, dang.
Well, you know what I was afraid of with that swing is that I had fished that body of water successfully for a long time. And I was afraid to find out how much I didn't really know about it. Because I knew that those guys would go find stuff that, you know, we just drove past, like that's dead water. Don't worry about it. Somebody would win off something that was absolutely not normal. You know what I mean? But
yeah. Or they would have caught like big largemouth or something, right? Like, oh, there's that big of largemouth in here.
Yeah.
Dude, but it was super, super cool to me. Super versatile. Like, again, I had never been there. I just moved to Boise, Idaho. And so it's only 3.5 hours from me or that pool. But like, holy cow. Like, first thoughts in my mind were like, reminded me of the Northeast, reminded me of like the St. Lawrence River, things like that. And it was just like so much bait, so many different kinds of bait. You could catch them in 6 inches of water. You could catch them in 30 feet of water scoping. Like it was everything. It was just, man, it was really fun. And I wasn't fishing, so I'm headed there sometime this month because I'd like to go actually fish it.
Nice. The Boomer, do any of like the Andromeda strained fish run in that section of the Columbia, like the salmon and the steelhead?
Oh yeah, that's a major. All of that stuff runs up through there. It's that's like the direct route to the ocean. So everything has to go up and around through the McNary Dam. And then when you get around the corner, that's where the Snake River drainage comes in. So it's massive.
Yeah, Snake River is like one of the prominent steelhead fisheries in Idaho. So that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
There's everything. Super cool. Every fish you can think of. It's like
I know it's got giant walleye too.
Huge
walleye. Is sturgeon? He caught a 7-pound walleye every day.
Yeah.
I was out there and I thought it was a big smallmouth. No, it's just another 7-pound walleye pulling me around.
Yeah. It's cool. You know, here's the sad thing about it, but I think it actually had a positive impact is they delisted the smallmouth fishing game over here doesn't treat our smallmouth like they do on the Northeast, which I wish that would change. But they delisted them. You can catch as many as you want. But I feel like since they've done that, fishing's gotten better. And I can't explain that. I don't have any scientific data behind it.
People are probably killing a bunch of small ones, and it's making the fish bigger, and they're getting grouped up in smaller areas.
We do struggle with our fisheries management out west because everyone kind of native fish and trout are the primary stuff. But I will say, Boomer, the other factor that I thought of there, because I think it's the same with the walleye, but I also think we've gotten a lot better at catching smallmouth with forward facing and everything else too. So
true story.
More and bigger ones.
True story.
It doesn't seem to be affecting things, that's for sure.
No, I led day one of that pro tournament with 67 keepers, and they had to be over 14 inches.
That's fun.
And you can't catch one and just throw them back. You literally got to catch it, take a picture of it, measure it, weigh it, and then decide if you're going to cull it. So, like, just imagine how many times you got to do that in the day. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's literally almost every cast at that point.
I mean, like, you have to, and I can't see anything, right? Especially not with polarized glasses on. So I have to turn the phone the right way and change my glasses, and still, you're creaming them. It was a blast. It was super fun fishing. My boat, though, I'll tell you this, because you got to handle every fish. My boat smells so bad, and I can't get the smell out of the carpet. Like, it smells horrible. Anyways, good fishing.
What's going on, Justin? How are you, man?
Oh, I can't complain. I'm a little tired. Sorry, I'm late joining. We were family was vacationing in South Carolina, and they got some crazy weather rolling through. So,
yes, sir.
I was driving back today.
How was the drive?
Drive wasn't terrible. Once we got out of the rain, it wasn't bad. Not too many people on the road today, but I think if we'd stayed another day or two, and there had been an evacuation and a lot of people leaving, it would have been a mess. So,
were you on like the coastline on the beach?
Yeah,
it's probably good.
Yeah, right
out there.
I think from Charleston all the way down into Florida, it was warnings, advisories, and stuff started popping up on everybody's phone yesterday. And the weather, it didn't look good. I think they were calling for 5 inches of rain where I was just today, and then more over the next couple of days. And it's flat, low country there, so there's nowhere for it to go. So
yeah, I saw one model that had the border of North Carolina and South Carolina. So it'd be like the Hilton Head area and like New River area of North Carolina getting up to 20 inches of rain.
Yeah.
Which would be like almost a biblical rain event for the Southeast.
Yeah.
So hopefully they get way less rain than what is forecasted, and hopefully everybody stays safe. But crazy weather news. Downtown Buffalo today, where I live about 5 minutes from my house, had an EF1 tornado go through Center City, which is like an anomaly. Yeah, just this freak thunderstorm that popped up over Lake Erie and trained for like an hour and a half and spun a water spout that ran ashore with 100-mile-an-hour winds. It was great.
That's nuts.
I was like, God, it feels weird. I felt all the pressure drop in my head, and I'm like, I think there's like a weird weather issue going on here. And all of a sudden, all my buddies in the city were like, there's a tornado on the ground. I'm like, oh, yeah, that explains why my ears just popped.
Did it like have damage? You're like laughing about this, Andy.
No, like, a couple buildings had the roofs torn off, like trees flipped, like broken down to the base, cars flipped over, but I don't think anyone got hurt. So I was just like, what the heck? Like, it's like our 9th tornado this year in Western New York, and we usually get like one every 3 years. So I'm like, we might as well start calling Erie County the Midwest, right? Like, because we're just getting bombarded in the last month. But anyways, we're here to talk about fishing. So bump back here to Smith Lake before we get our special guest on to talk about Lake Champlain. So how did you guys do at Smith?
I don't remember.
All right. I'll just run through the points real fast then and kind of move on so we don't have to keep our guests waiting. So in last place, rounding out, he had 801 at Smith Lake, and fantasy points was Brennan Chapman. He is not here tonight to defend himself. We have Justin Largent in 5th with 1,090. Bailey is in 4th with 1,018. at Smith. Jake Boomer sitting in third with 1,079. I'm sitting in second after 1,077, and Deakin had 1,021 with a grand total of 8,146. So you got a 300-point lead going into these last two events, Deakin. Do you think you're going to be able to hold up?
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Hot on the case. And then let's jump over to Drain the Lake, and then we'll get our special guest correspondent on here. And I normally don't. I apologize in advance. I always forget how these fantasy fishing shows are run, especially because I hardly ever host it. So I'm like, ooh, throw them for a loop here. But Drain the Lake with Justin leading the caboose with 11,247. You had a good week there, Justin. 1,419 points. This is unofficial. I have a goose egg on my score that Bailey has the official number for. I'm sitting in fifth based on the standings here with 1,100. What was this? 11,311. Boomer is in fourth with 11,928. Brennan is in third with 12,282. Bailey in second with 12,369. And Deakin in first with 12,751. But if I remember correctly, Deakin, I think we were like neck and neck with my scores that I forgot to put in. I just don't remember what it is, so I can't do the tally.
That seems a little strange that you may not know the numbers there.
Bailey's got it written down on his desk, all right?
I just think it's funny that even with like not counting 1 week, you're still way ahead of me. You're still way ahead of me.
I mean, we win some and lose some. That's just the way it goes. Next year you'll be better, Justin. I have faith.
Hopefully.
So, seeing as we don't really remember much about Smith Lake besides a couple cool spotted bass catches on glide baits and scoping offshore, I think we're ready to talk about Lake Champlain. What do you guys think?
I like it.
All right. So I think we're going to get our special guest on here, which is Major League Fishing's Rookie of the Year and Angler of the Year in the Tackle Warehouse Invitational. So let's get Alec Morrison on here. Hey, man, no stranger to Lake Champlain himself. So we figured we'd get him on here to chat about what's going to happen this week with the elites up there.
Heck yeah. Good to see you, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So, getting down and dirty, right to it. Like, what is going on Lake Champlain at the
moment? Ever since that storm we had around the Toyota Series event, the lake has done a lot of changing. The water's been up. We've gotten a lot of water from that storm, and then also just in the last few weeks. And it's kind of, at least the largemouth fishing is in a state right now that I haven't seen it in like 5 or 6 years. So this may be potentially the biggest weights we see come from Champlain for an Elite Series event. It is fishing unbelievable right now. If you're fishing a tournament in Thai, you better have over 24 pounds if you want to have a shot at winning. And then on the northern end, it's like what used to be 21 and change, is now like you're just not going to win with it. You've got to have like 22 and a half, maybe closer to 23. It's just fishing unbelievable right now, and I'm really interested to see what these guys get into.
So wow, that makes it exciting. That's normally not. When you started talking about the lake changing all this stuff, my first instinct was great. This is going to be tough and whatever else, but that is awesome to hear.
I think it's going to be a smash fest, and I hope by day 4, we've got 3 live cameras down in Thai or something like that. And I think if there was ever a tournament for it to happen, it would be this one.
Wow.
Yeah, Thai has been fishing. I've seen some like giants coming out of Thai too, right? Like there's been a lot of like upper 6s weighed in.
Yeah, even 7s. It's big ones are biting right now in Champlain. It's crazy. So not only are they going to hit, the classic bait deal like they did last year, they're going to hit that in its prime in the sea and in northern New York section, but also this largemouth. they're definitely going to be a big key for this one. Someone that last year I picked Koya to win, and he won, and I still feel the same. But man, I would love to see like Seth Fighter or somebody just flipping a jig and some milfoil.
So how is the largemouth fishing going down right now? Like, is it just as good in the north end, like where you historically see the big largemouth play? Are they catching them just as good up there right now too?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there's a lot of fish up in foil, and it's just I've seen more big ones kind of caught in that nature than I have in quite a few years. So it's looking really good. I'm really interested to see how this one shakes out.
Dude, that's super cool. That fires me up. That makes me, because I feel like for me, Champlain has always been such a fun event to watch because of the largemouth factor.
Yeah.
And then over the last couple of years with forward facing and everything else, it just seems like they haven't played nearly as much. And to hear that, like that makes it like anyone's ball game and totally just a fun event to follow along with.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm hoping to see like guys go out and scope them early, and all of a sudden everyone that's got like a 22-pound bag of smallmouth or 20-pound bag of smallmouth, they're like, all right, put all the scoping rods away, and they go pick up the big sticks with braid and try to flip up like a 6-pounder. That's going to be incredible footage.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, right? Like, do you up there, like, do you know if the big largemouth bite better in the morning, or is it more of a late?
It's actually, I would be rolling in on them at about 12.
Yeah.
12 or 1 o'clock. Yeah. I mean, if you were going to flip all day long and do it, then heck yeah, go for it and start in the morning. But for the most part, it seems to be better when that sun comes up.
Yeah.
Do you think, you said that the water came up and then, just a better year. We've had a late year too. Do you think some of the attention that all the offshore stuff got the last year was kind of maybe laid off those fish a little bit? Do you think that was a factor that's kind of let them kind of reset and get better?
Yeah, potentially in some areas. But kind of overall, the general rule for Champlain is these low water years. The largemouth fishing just really typically isn't all that good until like later on in the year, like August on, even September, October, that kind of range. But, this is the first time in quite a while where we've had a significant amount of water come up, and we were already at a good level to kind of start the year previously to getting this water. And, it seems like there's some of those real prominent areas where you want good milfoil and stuff like that. It seemed to have grown pretty good this year. So, I mean, everything's up there, and they just needed the little push, I think, and it's really shaping out to be really good.
If last year, if memory serves, the water was like way high, wasn't it? Like it was higher than it normally gets.
Yeah,
was that right?
Not so much. It was up. It was definitely up to kind of like a little bit below like a normal level, but this year it's definitely kicked up a little bit more. It's not like flood material or anything, but talking to some dudes down in Thai, like they're talking to me about like some water up in the trees and in the bushes and stuff, and that's usually we can only fish that way kind of like respawn and stuff. So it'll be it's not anything crazy or super drastic, but it's kind of actually it's made areas of the lake a little dirtier too, just from runoff from certain rivers. And when I was flying home from ICAST, it was pretty cool because I flew into Burlington, but essentially the pilot was going a little too fast and messed the landing up. So we just did a big loop over the lake, and I was able to just like get a bird's eye view of the lake, and I could see these insane mud lines coming out of the river mid-lake, and I've never seen anything like that. Like floating trees, like it was like kind of like runoff type stuff that we see, during ice out and at the end of winter, early spring. But yeah, it's just been a huge kind of influx of water recently in the last month, and it's got them up there and wanting to feed. So I hope it holds off, and I hope I hope guys are practicing right now in Thai. Like, oh man, this is great. I can't wait to smash them because I would love to see that. It would just be a nice change of pace.
Right.
And if people don't go down there in this event and Thai doesn't really get shown, then I don't know if it ever will play again because right now would be probably the best time we're going to see it. So I don't know.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, like, because day one, they're going to have Hamner on because he's AOI, right? Like, and the rest of them are probably going to be like scopers unless somebody wants to cough up that they're running the tie and they're like, okay, we need a live boat with him. Because the first day is usually pretty random, but I'd be willing to bet first day is all scopers, and then that guy, if he drops like a 24-pound bag and is leading the event, and he's like, I ran the tie, and people are like, oh gosh, here we go. So much is about to be exposed.
Yeah.
Like,
then they'll slap the camera on him.
Yeah.
But, I hope
the only caveat with the run to tie is the wind, right?
Yeah. Speaking of that, we should pull up the weather here and just the weather is
all right.
And the wind looks good, but that might make the scoping bite a little bit more interesting with all that rain and clouds that they're going to be dealing with every single day. The Derby starts Thursday, correct?
Yeah.
The 8th. Yeah, so Thursday they have a southeast wind at 8, and it's going to be partly cloudy. And Friday, Saturday, southeast 9 to 10 miles an hour, which isn't terrible, but when you get on a big lake, you always need to about double the wind speed. But clouds and rain will make that smallmouth offshore bite a little interesting, including in to the final day on Sunday, just a few showers. I'll be interested if that's like Hurricane Barry and if that's like the remnants of it that's in that forecast. They're probably going to chew all those days, if I had to guess, if you land on the right ones.
Yeah, for sure.
That's also largemouth weather, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's chuck and wind largemouth weather.
Chuck and wind largemouth weather, top water.
We haven't seen a tournament like that for a while. That's not normal temperatures, though, right, Alec? They're normally you guys are normally quite a bit warmer.
Yeah, we've been like super hot. And today was actually kind of the first day where it started to dip down, and temp a little bit. It's starting to looks like it wants to kind of start to make that swing, as things start to cool down a little bit. I remember last year, a little bit later than this, but still kind of early August. I was on the river for the Toyota Series event on the St. Lawrence, and I had for the morning run, I had like 2 sweatshirts and bibs on, like it was starting to get cool, but yeah, now's about the time it starts to make the switch a little bit. So I don't know. They should be biting.
So if you had to choose like a top bait or presentation for this event, would you go with the jig head minnow deal again?
Yeah, probably, because that's the only thing that I know for sure is going to be just certain. There's a great chance that this event is one doing that. But outside of that, I would have to say a jig. Like, it's going to be the dude who flips a jig and milfoil for, a decent amount of the event. And I think it could most certainly – it seems crazy to say it, honestly, but I think it could be one doing that right now. If there was ever a time for it to be one flipping a jig on Champlain, it would be right now. So,
wow. It's making me rethink picks, Alec.
I've already changed mine.
Oh, no.
I've changed mine.
Oh, no.
It's crazy. I've been itching to go down to Thai because it's all I'm hearing. It's just unbelievable things. I know that the north end is fishing really good, and
the north end is where all the pressure is too, right? Like,
yeah. But yeah, definitely some big bags. It's just been taken generally 22 or more to win anything, and going out of Thai, you better have like a mega bag.
Yeah.
So
they're going out of Plattsburgh, though, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So it's either going to go down basically in way north in the New York side, the inland sea, or Thai. Basically, like the 3 areas you're highlighting at this point?
Yeah, as far as the bait deal, probably there's a good chance some dudes could catch them outside of the sea as well. But yeah, there's just a lot of big ones in the sea that are just on that pattern right now. They're just hitting it at a really good time, kind of like the prime section for it. From here on out, it almost seems to kind of like peter off. But yeah, they're hitting it at prime time again, and now we just got a interesting little side piece of largemouth. And I hope, I cross my fingers. Ryan Lattenville and I were talking today about it, and if you guys know who Ryan is, he's a local on the lake, but super good largemouth angler. And man, we were just talking about how we'd love to see, half of the top 10 flipping a jig or doing something cool.
Oh, like Denny Brower on them way north, and was it Missisquoi Bay?
Yeah,
Like going up there in the reeds and having a time. Yeah, sign me up for that.
yeah.
Get away from the forward facing for a little bit. But if you had to choose who you think would win the event, who would that be? And then do you have a dark horse?
Yeah, my two picks are I'm going to go one side and then the other. Koya, scope event. He knows where to be, what to throw, how to do it. He knows how to get fish to bite better than others. And my second pick is 100% Seth Fighter. And I hope he just flips a jig all practice and just locks in the tournament, because that dude can read and sniff out little patches of foil better than anybody I know. And I could see him doing really, really good if he just locks into what he likes to do.
Yeah, so hopefully he doesn't go chasing both, because I think that's, like, I'm not saying it's the reason why he lost the event that Brandon won, right? Like, he was crushing it, but he was doing both. And on that final day, what his largemouth pattern just didn't fire for him, so he scrambled for smallmouth, or like day 3 that happened.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was mostly because of that weather they had. I mean, they had a real bad south wind, and he had a good day at smallmouth wise, but he really was kind of pushing for that. He needed that one kicker largemouth, and it just wasn't really happening that day. But so we could see, this weather could impact, the largemouth a little bit. But I don't know. I feel like as a whole, the largemouth bite itself is better than they have seen it in the last few years that they've been here. So I think this is probably the best chance for a dude like Fighter or Hackney or somebody like that to win.
Some new territory here. I like it.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, the trend certainly in fantasy fishing and all of fishing, but has been, right, the younger generation and forward facing and everything else. And it kind of is this is cool to me for some of the old guys, right, that maybe have made the run to tie years ago over and over and that kind of a thing. And so to see some of those guys, maybe a super neat twist. So looking forward to it.
Oh, heck yeah. I hope they, this bait deal is going to play a predominant role.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the largemouth are going to play a role. I'm just hoping that they really do kind of show out like they have been at least the last few weeks, just because it would, like you were saying, it would make for a really, really fun event.
Yeah. And also, so many people will probably focus in on smallmouth. Like, if a couple guys gamble, they could like literally land on gold and have water all to themselves.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
So that'll be pretty sweet to see. And then Champlain's so big I feel like before that alewife offshore deal was exposed last year, it's what they're eating out there is alewives, correct?
Yeah, yep.
So before that was exposed last year, but the forward-facing game, I feel like they used to be relatively spread out. Now, last year, they were all like on top of each other in a 2-mile stretch. So that'll be interesting. So before I let you run here, Alec, any other insights that you think you could give to us here on Champlain on what we can expect?
I don't know. Maybe we'll get a Champy sighting or something.
That'd be sweet.
Love to hear it.
Yeah. Actually, this is a pretty funny story. So last year, I think it was,
Mhm.
I get the newspaper in the mail, right? And I look at it, and it's like local angler finds Champy. And I'm like, oh, no way. Open to page 8. So I go there, and it's a live scope picture. And it quite literally is just a ball of alewives. And I'm like, what is going on? How did this make the paper?
People think that that's Champion.
Yeah.
A ball of alewives has got like little horseshoes in it from the
Yeah.
smallmouth blowing it apart.
Yeah.
It was a bad news day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Manufacture something that
Something got desperate. Yeah.
Yeah.
or somebody just didn't know anything about fishing.
Yeah,
and they
no
sent that
vetting.
in it, and they sent it in as a joke, and they ran with it because like, oh my gosh, it actually is.
That's probably what happened.
That's probably exactly what happened.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
I'm not too sure. Hopefully the weather is decent, and from at least my wind forecast shows Friday being a little breezy if you were going to go run to tie. Or anything like that, but
Yeah, because
You
the
know?
southeast wind would be blowing right out of the gut into Plattsburgh.
yeah, it doesn't look too good. But yeah, I mean the other days look all right, so could see something really cool happen.
Cool.
Let's hope.
Well, certainly, Alec, before we let you go, and you've been on a bunch of podcasts here lately, just with your success, man. You are absolutely kicking butt and taking names,
Thank
and super hot right now. So, man, keep it up. Looking forward to following you next season and the rest of this year.
Heck yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks, man. I
Congrats, man.
appreciate it,
Yeah.
guys.
All right. Anything else, Andy?
No, I think we're good to go, so we can talk about our picks here. Alec, thanks again for joining us, and keep catching them up, bud.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
Yeah, we'll chat
See you, man.
soon.
See you.
Thanks, man.
Man, that guy is on a roll at the moment.
That dude is fishing his gourd off, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've looked at the stats here lately. I think what did he top 10 every event this year
Yeah.
on the Tag Warehouse Pro Circuit? Like, that's wild. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's not like he's fishing against like
scrubs.
BFL anglers and
No.
such, but like, yeah. And then he's got like the 3-day limit record down there on Rayburn from last year.
After
Like,
never of being there, like had
Yeah.
never been there before. Like, just guy's incredibly talented. And I fished an event on Champlain as a co-angler and got to meet him and really enjoyed just how humble he was and everything else. And he was phenomenal on Champlain at that time, and then kind of was making his push to fish nationally. And yeah, he's going to be a problem for a long time, in my opinion.
yeah. Be on the lookout. I wonder if we should have asked him before he went, but I wonder if he'll make the jump over to the opens now, or if he's going to keep running Major League Fishing. You know what I mean?
Well,
Yeah,
he
that
gets a bid. He gets a bid for the BPT, doesn't he?
Yeah, I believe
Or the
so.
AOI. Yeah, be hard not to take that. It'd be hard to. It'd
Give
be
up.
hard not to take that level and then start back over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would think.
absolutely. All right, so let me get this pulled up here. I've removed all of my anglers and weights and stuff here so we can put them in. But let me pull up the groups here so I know who's going to be who's going first. Man, I wish I had 2 screens to make this a lot easier on myself, but
Yeah, I mean, not to give Bailey any credit, but he seems to be a little bit faster than you.
yes, I'm sure he is. All right, let's be real. I'll own
Bailey
that.
paid me to say that. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sure he did, but no, it's all
I'm
good.
sure he did.
I'm doing what I can.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding, Andy. It was a joke.
Give me all the hell. I don't care. It doesn't bother me one bit. So I'm just trying to make this work with one screen. Okay. So going first is going to be actually go first, Justin. I have Brennan's I have to pull up here and Bailey's. So you can
So-
start us off.
So we're
With
going to
your
start
group.
with E?
E. Yes, sir.
Cool. So E, I went Ed Lochran. And he's got a really good track record there. I know he had some health issues, so he missed, I think, the last 2. I know he missed Smith, and I forget what was before Smith now, but I have a feeling he's going to be antsy to get back up there, and he just seems to always do well in those northern swings. So for me, as soon as I knew he was going to be competing, he was my pick.
Yeah, I forgot to totally mention that Loughlin and Hartman are back for these last 2 events because they're both on medical exemptions. So thank you for pointing that out.
I didn't know Hartman was back. I thought he was out.
No, he's back.
Good news.
I thought, sorry. Loughlin did good last year, too.
Yeah.
I remember looking it up. He had a good finish last year.
I'll tell you right now.
I remember talking to him at ICAST, and he was talking like, he was on the on the bubble of not making it back, and he needed to have a really strong, northern swing, and he did. He did enough to stay.
35th.
Yeah, 35th. Yeah, 55 pounds. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, super cool.
So next will be I got Brennan's and Bailey's, and then we'll go into yours, Boomer. Is that cool?
Yep.
All right. So for Group E, Brennan has taken Chad Pipkins, and Bailey's taking Matt Robertson, who I feel like is a surprise down in Bucket E.
I got Scott Martin. I feel like his experience there, I just don't feel like you can hold him down that long. Maybe the largemouth thing is a good thing. So,
he's got a bunch of FLW wins there, or at least one.
He has a good track record there. He didn't do bad last year. He just in that bucket that I think Matt Robertson is a good pick too, though.
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree with that. All right. And for Group E, I have like 10 different things here. I actually took Micah Kennelly. Wild carding it in Group E. But I mean,
I was wild carding it.
With largemouth at play, that guy probably has as much experience on Champlain as anyone. I feel like I didn't really love any of the picks in Group E. So that's why I'm going with Ike, even though he's seemed to the last few years that he's been back to the elites, he's been way down, which is almost not like him. And it's like, when is that resurgence going to happen again? So hopefully he gets on the right side of the ship here and can kind of close out this season on a positive note. So positive vibes to Ike and Ellie.
I like it.
Deakin.
Man, you guys need to start looking at your stats a little more. That's all I'm saying. Matt Robertson in 2021, he finished 18th here, and he finished 10th here last year. That's 2 top 20s, basically, for a Bucket E pick. Like, hard to bet against that. And then you also consider, I could see him sliding up end of the day, going and trying to slam a big large head too. So, yeah, man, I'm going Matt Robertson all the way, baby. Ugly stick.
Yeah, and I'm not saying
bait in the grass.
No, I mean Robertson's a great choice. I'm just scared to pick him because of the season he's having. So where Ike and Ellie, he's just had 2 terrible seasons, and all he can do is go up. So like, I'm praying on the rise up here. All right, Group. Let's see here. Group D. So Justin, you want to go first?
Yeah. So I don't know I guess I'm looking at the stats. So yeah, I wasn't the only guy to make this pick, but I went Paul Mueller, and I remember looking at the stats. I think I looked at it probably 2 weeks ago. So I don't remember exactly what his numbers were, but I think he was top 10 last year.
Yeah. He lives fairly close to there too. Candlewood in Connecticut. It's like a hop skip for those guys.
I feel like that's his neck of the woods, his type of fishing. I expect to see him do well. So
it's a good pick. All right, so Brennan took Paul Mueller as well, so I'll let him know that he stole your pick. And
definitely did.
And Bailey is going Bryant Smith. So Boomer, what's your pick?
Brian Smith. That's so
Oh,
dumb.
come on.
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Unreal.
Anyways, up until this point, I've been staying away from like guys that I talked to Brian and Brandon because I don't want to ruin the show. Like I want to be diverse and act like I'm really studying and picking, and I'm losing. So finally, I just went back to picking Bryant because I feel like this is his kind of wavelength. I feel like he's pretty scared too with the way that the AOY points have been going.
Yeah.
And so I know he's putting extra time in. And he's one of those guys that the tighter you squeeze, the better he gets. I've noticed that with him. He doesn't, it's when he gets comfortable. Yeah, when he gets comfortable, he starts to slob out. But man, squeeze that guy a little bit and watch what he can do. Impressive.
Love it. All right. In Group D, I was going to take Brian Smith, but because everyone else is taking him, I am going to go largemouth fisherman, and I'm going to pick Alex pick, dark horse pick. I'm going to go with Seth Fider in Group D. He's all
not a dark horse. He's 38% of the.
Yeah, but it's another guy that's in Group D. He shouldn't be in Group D at this point in the season, is what I'm saying. He's having a terrible year. So I'm taking another guy who's having a terrible year in Group D and is all but one on Lake Champlain. If you would let me finish speaking, that's where I was getting.
Well, all I'm saying is that is not the definition of a dark horse because
For
that
the
is the
season
lightest
he
of
is having.
horses.
All
I
right.
mean, that horse is a pale white horse running up.
Yeah. And then look what he did last year. I don't even think he made a top 50 cut. So I'm just saying.
Logan Latuso is a dark horse.
You take Logan. Go ahead.
Percentages are what we're for the horses.
Fine.
Okay.
All right. Deakin, go.
All right. I got Bryant as well. Finished 4th last year, and I just don't see him not doing well. He's great at scope. I could see him going and catching a big green one in the grass too. So he's used to fishing for northern strain in Northern California and really big fish in grass. And then of course he's gotten super versatile with forward facing and everything else. So riding the Bryant Smith train in bucket D.
Nice.
I'm glad I got
after you guys heard Alec talk though, like not wanting to cheat, but doesn't that make somebody like Carl Jakobsen seem a little bit dangerous? Yeah.
Yeah, because if you can get 4 or 5 big smallmouth to start, then you just go run up shallow and throw the big glider. And if you get one big bite a day and get them in the boat, if it's a 5.5 to 6 pound largemouth every time, you're doing great.
I saw a video of him last year run 32 minutes to throw out 1 rock. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
On Champlain, he ran 32 minutes to throw out 1 rock and turn around and checked in.
Did he catch anything on the rock?
Yeah, I caught a 4-pounder. It was awesome.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a cool video, but I don't know if I would give an hour up for 1 toss.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have all 3 3/4, and you need that 1/4 pound. Champlain, a 1/4 pound goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, Group C. Justin, who do you got?
All right, C. This is the one that I changed mid-show, I guess. After I heard about the largemouth bite, initially I was thinking Shane LaHue, another guy that I felt like was kind of a dark horse, really good track record there, but I felt like that was going to be more of a scoper pick, and I decided to go Brian Schmidt instead when I heard about the largemouth bite. He's
Team Missile, baby.
Oh yeah, Team Missile, and that dude, I think he's said before it's his favorite place. He does well anywhere there's grass. I think he's won the Mississippi River, he's won Potomac, Chesapeake.
He's won on Champlain like 3 times,
including an Elite Series win. So
yeah, I think he has an Elite, an Open, and an FLW win there. I believe it's either FLW or Toyota Series.
And I know he used to catch a mix. At least when he won the Elite, he was catching a mixed bag. He was getting some smallmouth and the green ones. So if the largemouth if that is a viable bite, I feel like he's going to be really dangerous.
Absolutely. All right, so Brennan is taking Kenta Kamara, which is the hottest opens angler like ever, and then has yet to translate, unfortunately. And we hope to get him on this show here soon. That'll be sweet. And then Bailey is taking Bob Downey, which I feel like that's a sneaky little pick in Group C. That guy can fish and very underrated. And I'm with you, Justin. I took Schmidt in Group C. And And I didn't choose him because of Alec. It was actually, I've had him on my team all along because he just has a very good track record. And Champlain. Deakin, who did you take?
Man, I went Austin Felix. Austin Felix, the last two Champlain events in 2021, he finished 5th. In 2023, finished 9th. So 2 top 10s, really good finishes. Seems to really always just catch him there. So excited to see him do well. It's a pick guy who I really haven't seen shine a bunch this season. I don't know, in my eyes. So looking to see him kind of make the northern swing. And I mean, he's in bucket C, right? So he's not having a bad season by any means, but
a quiet season.
Quiet. He's a quiet guy, right? Sneaky assassin. So looking forward to seeing what he does. But gosh, it's hard to and I've gotten sometimes too in line with stats in this of like looking too closely at things, and you end up burning yourself because especially with all these rookies coming in, they just don't have experience on these places. But to me, in bucket C, a guy who's had 2 top 10s, another one to like, and that's hard to bet against.
Yeah. No, it's a great pick. It seems like there's a direct correlation between Tonka and Minnesota and Champlain. The guys that fish Tonka a bunch that come over and fish the Elite Series is like sets up perfectly for their fishing style. Fighter, Downey, Austin Felix, Schlopper, I'm sure could be another one that you put in there as well. That would be a good pick. So, all right, Group B. Justin,
you never got my pick out of C.
Yeah, no one cared. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead, Boomer.
Well, I don't either. But I was like proud of this one. Like, this is off the reservation. This is like,
off the cuff. Nice.
Yeah, this is like switch hitting to a guy that can't even. Never mind. Luke Palmer.
Ooh.
I'm never taking Luke Palmer, but he did well last year, and I look at trends when I look at anglers, and Palmer is 2 really good events in off of a mediocre kind of middle of the year season. He's had 2 good ones. I see that's a momentum thing. 1 good event is not enough for me, but 2 in a row, I look for the 3rd. So I took Palmer.
Even with like a huge break in between events.
I think sometimes that's good for a guy, but yeah, maybe, I don't know. Anyways,
hey, you want to talk value pick, especially after what we heard about the largemouth. Hackney's at 2.9%. Talk about somebody who's got some experience flipping a jig. That could be a sneaky one for guys.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not rolling the dice, but
I wonder about Cobb too.
My concern with all this is like sounds super exciting, and I do think Alec is shooting it straight from like, hey, the largemouth could certainly play here, but for a guy to do it for 4 days makes it like, I don't know, that scares me a little bit on
just the running part of it, like
right.
Not even take the fishing part of it out, and it's a lot has to go right.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Like, I think you're gonna want to have guys that can mix in largemouth, but not be straight largemouth every day. Like if they can go out and get their limit of 20 pounds.
Exactly what he said, right?
Yeah.
Till noon, fish for your smallmouth. Yeah.
Especially the guys that like if they get a late draw day 1 or day 2, like it flips, or the guys that are like the 60s, so they're only 40 and 60. Those are the guys that have a late day that I think you could really see catch a big one late that they don't enter in Bass Track. You're like, oh, a couple 6-pounders coming across the stage late because they figured out there was a late day largemouth bite. So, yeah, I'm interested to see that largemouth play. Most of the times they go here, they played until last year. So, very interesting. All right, Group B. Justin, go ahead.
Group B, I went with another Japanese guy. I did not go Koya like Alec, but I went Taku. Another guy who's great at smallmouth, great at scoping. I feel like this is right in his wheelhouse, and it looks like a lot of other people, 34.9%, had the same idea.
It's a good pick. So, Brennan and Bailey both took Alex Redwine, which we must say I believe he had a top 10 last year, was close to a top 10 on Champlain, but he's been fishing out of his mind this year compared to his first 2 seasons on the Elite Series. So
6th is where he finished.
Yeah. You know, him and Jay Shakira are probably working pretty close in tandem, so they'll probably be fishing relatively same areas as each other, and I expect both of them to have really good tournaments. Boomer, so I don't forget you this time.
Ponic.
Oh,
Saw that coming.
Like, I was surprised that out of the first 4 picks, somebody already picked him. But he's also got the momentum swing. He's kind of turned his year around. It's Brandon. I know how amazing he can be with. I got a good story, though. I got to actually fish a scope tournament with him on a really tough body of water 2 weeks ago. And it's
tough body of water?
Coeur d'Alene.
It's not a tough body of water.
Oh, it was that weekend was tough.
Okay.
I thought it was really tough.
Okay.
Put it this way, like you got one guy can run a scope, right? And I can run everything else. I'll throw a drop shot out the back. I'll do whatever. I could not catch anything that mattered. That's how tough the bite was as far as like what we were doing. Like you couldn't just drag a drop shot around and catch a keeper. It was tough. And that dude is like, it's just a level he made his own baits. He's like, I don't like any of your guys's. You know, I had Sakamoto shads. I had all the cool stuff. And he's like, I don't like any of that stuff. So he just took and chopped up a X-Zone swammer with the pair of scissors and cleaned house. Like it was insane.
Dang.
So he's on a move. Yeah, it's just cool to get a fish with guys like that and see there's this like level. He's a junkie. He's an absolute fishing junkie. So I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I was jealous of all the people that didn't get a fish with me since I got to fish with him. But it was so cool. Like he's like, I don't even like those, and gets one, chops one out. But I'm like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I don't see him going to Thai though. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think he's ever done. He's always been the smallmouth guy, even when Ty was a player. So, but he's a safe bet.
But he always figures out like where to catch a big largemouth, I feel like, in the north end too. So he'll be trying to do both.
Yeah.
Like I feel like even in the tournament that he won, day 1 and 2, he carried with mixed bags, if I remember correctly. And then day 3 and 4, he was all in on smallmouth.
Yep. I think he was catching the largies on a shaky head or something, wasn't he?
Yeah, like first thing in the morning and then sliding up for smallmouth, which is completely different from what Alec is saying to do.
Right. Just when you think you know fishing.
Yes. Perfect. So my pick it's my turn now, I believe, right? Yeah. My pick in Group B. Justin, I must say I'm terrified of my team right now because we have a lot of the same picks.
That's hurtful. That's just
hurtful and accurate.
It can't hurt.
Won last week.
You know what I'm saying, Justin? Like it doesn't hurt if it's the truth, okay? Like
you guys said my picks were off like oddballs last week, and I think I had the best score.
Yeah,
maybe not.
No, but I'm taking Taku. So
that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, I know, but it's terrifying me because like our team is kind of aligning up here.
It's a great pick.
Oh, it's fantastic. He's probably gonna be at least a top 15 or top 20. So that's what you hope for in your Group B, right? So, all right, moving on to Group A.
Wait. So nobody took Koya?
What about me, Andy?
Whoa.
Sorry, Deacon. Oh, man, I'm rough. I haven't hosted this in a while, so I apologize.
You're good.
I'm rusty.
I have Coyote. Wow, can't even say his name.
Koyo?
Did you just take that because I just said that?
No, gosh, dang it, Boomer!
He stole your pick again.
Yes.
I could not believe out of all of our picks that nobody took Koya.
My notebook. It's been on my notebook.
He just wrote it 30 seconds ago.
You would have seen me.
He's like, there's ways to write without seeing your arm move. All right, like
yeah.
Just paying attention and just.
He's got a stack of
like
notepads with everybody's name written down. He's got to grab the right
just in
one.
case Boomer calls me out for cheating, I'll pull up.
Yeah, he held it far enough away from the camera. That's his shopping list. That wasn't Koya. That was Coors Light. I couldn't read it. It was too far back.
You're giving him too much credit. It's Mick Ultra.
Mick Ultra.
Even better.
Mick Ultra for the chic.
right.
That's a better beer than Coors Light, and I'm from Colorado. I'll say it.
We actually had like this great family debate the other day. It was kind of funny. I was like, you know what? And we're talking about beer, and Amanda's family will like do these random like random ass questions on a weekly basis. And I go, I'm throwing down $100 right now. I was like, Coors Light is a better beer than Corona Light. Like, I can't
Disagree
stand
there,
Corona
too.
Light. Can't, and her
Disagree.
entire family, except for my wife, agreed with me. So I was pumped about it. I'm not a big Corona Light fan. Corona regular, all
Oh, those
day.
are better. Those are
Yeah.
better.
Wait, Corona regulars, like Corona heavies all day. Corona Lights just taste like crap in a bottle. So, not a fan. I just don't like light beer either. So, all right.
Nobody actually really puts beer on their shopping list. This is kind of a given anyway, so I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one. Like, I don't write down beer on the shopping list.
You just
But I
grab
bring
it as
beer
you're
home.
walking by. Yeah.
That's true.
It's a given.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that one, Adam.
We'll see. We'll see.
Says the one who's calling him out about it. All right. Group A. Justin, lead us off.
Group A, I went with a guy I've picked before. Kind of staying like Andy, you pointed out with that Team Missile. I've taken Cody Huff a couple times. He's been on a tear, and I feel like that's going to continue. Dude's really good at, I think, the style that's going to play this week, and I see that momentum continuing. I forget exactly what place he's in, but I want to say he's top 5 AOI right now.
I believe so. He's either second or third.
I know he's close. So,
all right. So Brennan is taking Coop Gallant, and Bailey took Cody Huff, which are both great picks as well. Boomer, who are you taking?
Walters. Oh, Patty W.
Why are you going
Patty
Patty
Walters.
W?
Because I think all the picks are amazing. Not taking Corey Johnston is eating at me really, really bad. But he's just on a roll. MPFL side, all the sides. And I like the diversity of Champlain, where it's not just straight up find the biggest smallmouth. There's just go float around and do his thing. Dude's like insane. Go to a bay, crush him. So I think he burned me earlier in the year. I quit taking him, and then he won or got second.
I think it's the same event that Boomer. I'm not copying you, but that's the exact same thing that happened. I think we both took Walters. You were making fun of me for copying you, and we both got burned, and we haven't touched him since. And now we're both.
I just feel he's back at it. Whatever it was, I don't know. This is the worst bucket ever. Like, don't not take Trey
too
McKinney
many
or Hamner. I know this is like, and it should be like that way at the end of the year. But holy cow,
it's literally like a rat race at the very end here. From like,
yeah.
I feel like was it the top 6 or 7 all have a shot at AOY? You're going in the last 2 tournaments. I can pull it up here after we're done, but I know like the top 4 at least have like a legitimate chance. And if a couple of these guys stumble, Corey and Chris Johnson are in that top 10, like they're going to the St. Lawrence, which you might as well automatically lock them into 1st through 5th somewhere.
Right.
So it's going to be these last 2 tournaments are going to be insane.
I think you could roll the dice on half this bucket.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that went for me, especially just I'm leading our fantasy fishing, right? So like normally that means you go for high percentage picks, but Patrick Walters to me only has 3.5% in this bucket, which is wild. But again, look at the stats. He's finished 7th the last 2 times they were there. 7th and 7th, 2021, 2020.
Nobody's touching him.
And no one's touching him because of all these young guys or the Johnston brothers, right? And I understand those picks totally. The one that I am most intrigued with that I did not take, that I almost changed to right before this, was Kyle Patrick. Just because you hear him talk about how he's a largemouth guy at heart, grew up in New York, he's obviously fished Champlain, knows how to do the smallmouth thing. So that'd be an interesting one too. But I'm sticking with my guns.
To be honest with you, Deacon, I don't know how much he's actually fished Champlain. To be 100% honest with you, he's more of like, if like, you know where Onondaga Lake is, he's more of like that area. He's more known for like largemouth fishing, like the little lakes around here chasing.
Sure, but largemouth fishing, grass, largemouth northern strain. I mean, to me, is it not one and the same?
It is. there's so much water to fish on Champlain, right?
Sure.
There's so much fishable water, and you can get trapped there catching 3 to 3.5 pounders. And if you only been there a couple times, and I'm not discounting Kyle Patrick, the guy's unreal. He basically steals everyone's money whenever he shows up to events around here. It's just one of those lakes that there's so many 3 to 3.5 pounders, and the history repeats itself. And I don't know how much history he has here. That's all. That's my biggest worry with him.
Not as many waypoints as a fighter.
Right. And
Sure.
who's to say how many times Fighter's actually been there, but he's caught them really well every time he's gone. So he's into a pattern. If you watch live coverage, because he'll probably have a live boat, like a camera with him, he'll fish the same stuff he fishes every year probably. And if it's going on, he's going to catch him. If it's not, then he's going to struggle. So I think it's my turn now, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, sorry, I know I cut you. I passed
No.
you, but that was just because Boomer chose him, and I was like, oh, I gotta say it.
No, you're
Go
good.
ahead, Andy.
I'm taking the highest percentage guy. I'm going to take Jay Shakira. He's on fire right now. Just won the Open at St. Clair, right? So, guy knows smallmouth, top 10 there last year. Probably be a top 10 next week at the St. Lawrence Lake, Ontario. He can basically catch him any way he wants. I think it's the first time I've ever taken Jay actually in fantasy fishing. So we're going to switch up. I was going to take Cody Huff, but I decided to change it at the last minute.
Love it. Hammer.
All right. Yeah. So what is everyone's thoughts on weights? Go ahead, Justin.
I know I tend to go high, at least the last few weeks. I went way too high, but I went 96.4 on this one.
Holy cow, that's
Is that high?
Century
again?
Bell to Champlain. Let's get it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Justin's like, I've been going way too high with things, and I just want to it was 10 pounds above what it was last year. So we're just going to absolutely blow it out of the water.
To be fair, I did not spend a whole lot of time looking at that stat. I didn't spend any time.
Is that a typo, Justin?
Yes, I meant 86.
Oh, I'm dead.
Well, how high? What was it last year?
86.12.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's going to be different this year. It's going to be different.
I love it. Brennan has 83.10, and Bailey went a little bit higher than last year at 90-7, which I still think is attainable, but it's I feel like once you start getting into that 90s at Champlain, there better be like some 6-pound buckets weighed in every day to get there, because there's just so many 3.5 to 4 pound fish. Getting above that 4 pound threshold is tough. Boomer, what do you got?
I got 92 pounds.
Nice. You're almost up there with Justin.
Yeah,
In crazy land.
in crazy land. Dude, when we're done, I got a scary stat I got to share with you guys. But we'll wait
boy.
till you're done.
Okay.
I have 87.11, so almost a pound more than last year. Deakin.
Nice. I've got 89.3. So I think I had like 87 or something on there. And then once Alex started talking about how big things are, it's like, hey man, maybe I'll add a pound or two. We'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm actually hoping that it's not a full blown scope event, and I'm sure a lot of people will be happy to see it not be that way. And don't get me wrong, I love fishing with forward facing sonar, and I look forward to it. And it's not that I think it's boring. I just like seeing them catch fish other ways, no matter what it is. Student of the game here. So I'm hoping for some big topwater fish. Hopefully no Carolina rig, because that's just boring to watch. That might be more boring.
Oh, I like the old ball and chain.
It works.
Oh, yeah, it definitely works. But, I mean, that's like watching paint dry, right? You throw it out and they're like,
Yeah, but you know what? They have the best hook sets. Because
do.
you know it's a struggle to get all that crap out of the way and get a hook in their mouth. You know what I mean? Dude's running across his boat like, oh no, he ate it.
Giant.
Yeah,
Goes to the
8
back
foot,
deck
6-inch
and dive off.
rod. Yeah,
Yeah. Because they eat it and they're swimming at you because they ate it at
That's
the
right.
very beginning of the cast, 200 feet away, right? It's like, oh, crap.
And he's probably 8 feet off the bottom, which means your weight's 2 feet off the bottom. You're trying to get rid of the slack. It's a panic set. Yeah. Oh God, trolling motor on 100. He ate it.
Already got
Yeah,
it
I will
swallowed.
say the Carolina rig hook sets though always sound great because it's like fluorocarbon to mono, and it always sounds like something's breaking because they have to hit them so hard and move so much line. It's like, oh god. But yeah, just a boring way to watch. Like it's Tyler Rivette at Lake Oahe sitting on his front deck waiting for a fish to bite.
It's true.
Like, all right. It's like throwing the towel. We're going to catch some fish today. We just don't know when type deal, but it catches them. So, all right, drain the lake. Justin, would you like to run through your roster first?
Sure. Don't listen to me, anyone. Just as I'm by far the worst at this. But I went, believe it or not, I actually saved a lot of these guys specifically for this time of year. And I think that was a bad strategy. But
Justin, I think we all did that. Not going to lie.
All right. Well, I got, so I got a mix actually. But Kyle Patrick, Cody Huff, Taku Ito, Alex Redwine, Jeff Gustafson, Fighter, Paul Mueller, and Ed Loughran.
Love it.
Love it. Love it.
So I'm going to go, Boomer, I'm going to go through Brennan's first, and then I'm going to have you go so I can pull up Bailey's. Does that sound good so I don't skip you this time?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. All right, so Brennan has Zaldane, Redwine, Patrick, Gussie, Felix, Brandon Polinick, Pipkins, and DePalma. There's one we haven't heard all year. And I think he's actually having a kind of decent season, right, too? Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
I picked him a couple weeks ago. Last, whatever it was, Smith.
Yeah. How did he do at Smith?
I think he had a really good first day, and then the bite died off a little bit. I don't think he made the cut. But it was a while ago, so don't trust me.
Fair. Boomer.
Redwine, Schlopper, JT Tompkins, Fujita, Corey Johnston, Scott Martin, Luke Palmer, Jay Shakirat.
Killer.
And while I was typing that in, I hit Shakirat. You guys got it. I don't know if you guys have looked at this. In Shakirat's last 12 events, other than the 2 in Florida, he hasn't finished lower than 25th. Of the 12 events, he's got 6 single-digit finishes.
So what you're saying
nobody talks about how freaking amazing this freaking dude is. He's on a roll. Unless you send him down to Florida. Send him to Florida and he gets a 60th. I mean, that's his kryptonite. And 60th is kryptonite.
Wouldn't you say, though, like Florida is like everyone's kryptonite, unless you understand Florida, right?
Not mine. I can't. I go to Florida and cash checks. I don't know. I like Florida, but either way, if you look at this run, this is insane. 1, 3, 6, 5, 4. I mean, he doesn't even get 7s. Anyways,
might pick him every tournament next year.
I've never looked at that close with him, and that's insane.
That is nuts. Good for him.
All right. Bailey has Downey, Dubé, Fighter, Felix, Jonathan Kelly, Mueller, Jay Shakirat, and Alex Redwine. I think that's a pretty good drain the lake roster. And then for mine, I have Fighter, Felix, Koyo Fujita, Gussie, Krieger, BP, Kyle Patrick, and Redwine. And Deakin, go ahead.
Yeah, so we've got Fighter, Felix, Shakirat, Gussie, Kyle Patrick, Brian Smith, Jamie Hartman, and Alex Redwine.
I missed that. Did I say I had Felix? I think I went Fighter, Fujita. I have Felix in mind too. Sorry.
Nice. A lot of similar picks in our Drain the Lakes.
Got to keep it close,
Getting down to it with the guys that are left,
Yep.
Oh, what am I doing? I'm changing one. I'm sorry. I didn't realize. I still haven't used it. No.
Cut the feed.
Get him out. I still haven't I haven't used Matt Robertson. And it's like we just talked about it. The guy had 2 top 10s or 18th and a 10th. So I'm dumping. Right. I'm gonna dump. Gosh, I don't want to dump any of these guys. I will dump Redwine because I'll use him at St. Lawrence. So then I'll go and pick up Robertson. There we go.
I think those are all good picks. Hoping I didn't even put it up here, but everyone heard us talk through it. So, yeah. So, dark horses, right? Who do you think a dark horse could be to win this event this week at Lake Champlain?
Shakira.
Yeah, it's full Smith.
Saw that coming.
Just
Is he a dark horse? Is he really a dark horse?
You want to know what though? Like before the rookies hit, like our Trey McKinney's and stuff like that, that dude's top of the game, right?
Yeah.
Before this group of rookies hit he'd be there. I don't know if Brandon never had a run like that, and that's who you'd be talking about. But we have this group of monster rookies that are just.
There's so many of them that you can't.
I know.
None of them stick out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're all like in the top 15 in points, except for like a couple of them, right? I'm surprised Brendan didn't take Milliken this week.
Yeah, what's up with that?
He's having an off week.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Where's McKinney in the standings going into this last
I
two?
think he's fourth
Second.
or fifth. Oh, is he second?
No, he's second.
Here, I'll pull up
571.
AOI. I'll pull up
Hamner's 595. McKinney, because of his DQ, is 571.
I thought he'd fallen further for some reason.
Mm-mm. He's still
So he's right there.
I got it
Go
right
ahead,
here.
Andy. Yeah. It's
Here's
they're all very close.
Here's the crazy thing about the Ham, because I don't think anybody took him for this tournament. But last year, when Bryant was struggling in practice, the guy that put him on the offshore alewives thing that got him fourth was the Ham.
How did Hamner do there last year?
I think he was top 10.
Finished. Go.
Dang.
I'll tell you right now.
I
No,
thought he was top 10.
you finished 21st. Still a good finish.
Yeah.
But he was the guy that unlocked that and gave it to Bryant. Pretty nice of him. That's the thing with Bryant. You can't help him out. Like I traveled with him for years. You give him a little tiny bit, and he turns it into this sledgehammer where he pounds you back into the ground with it. Like, I was thinking, if you get in trouble, skip docks and channel swings. But man, I got a third place, skipping docks and channel swings. Thanks, Jake. I didn't even cash a check.
Love to see it.
Yeah, because he was going down every dock and channel swing before he rolled in.
Yeah, don't. He's one of those guys you don't fish behind. It ain't worth it. Anyway,
Fair enough.
So you're questioning any dark horses? I'm going to stick with Hackney. I like that as I picked him and G-Man a couple times early in the year before I accepted how good these young guys were with the offshore deal, and it burned me. And but I feel like this is one where one of the old school guys making that run, gambling, it could pay off.
do you know who's been bugging me all week? Not that I keep stealing the show from you guys, but Bill Lowen has been on my mind all week.
Oh, that'd be now largemouth play. That could be definitely an interesting.
I know, and I thought that when we were talking to Alec, except he has that aluminum boat, and those expresses only have like a 42-gallon tank or something like that.
Oh.
So he can't make the
And-
run.
Or they have to get
There's
fuel.
largemouth. There's largemouth on the north end too. Don't forget that.
Yeah, Missisquoi. I've fished up there before out of a kayak.
Yeah, it's
It's,
still a long. Missisqua's a long run still from Plattsburgh, though.
Is it?
I mean, dude, even right there, not far from Plattsburgh. I don't know. In the
Yeah,
open
between
Toyota Series,
Plattsburgh and like Rouse's
That's
Point,
pretty
there's
much.
all kinds of
little pockets. that
largemouth,
have
yeah.
Good largemouth. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's not the tie, right, of places. So be curious to see. I think that's how it'll be won. If it's one with a largemouth, smallmouth mixed bag, I think it'll be a guy who's scoping, and then maybe he's not running all the way down to tie, but he slid up and caught a 6-pounder under a dock, that was around somewhere near his smallmouth areas.
I think you're probably right, but I'd love to see somebody make that run down there.
Oh,
I feel like it hasn't happened in a long time.
No, someone will do it. I think someone will do this event the way.
It's gonna be like a Jason Christie, somebody who has nothing to
Ooh,
lose.
wow, that is a great dark horse pick.
Yeah, and he's also a good scoper as well. Like
Mhm.
he can catch him however he wants. An uncharacteristically bad year for him. Like I
Right.
think he's in like 65th or 67th. Yeah, Christie's in 67th in points. Fighter's 65th. Brian Smith 64th, and Carl Joachimson in 63rd. Like, all four of those guys need to make big moves. Austin Felix in 58. Like, these guys all have to have big tournaments the last 2 tournaments to have a sniff at the Classic. So you might see some guys gamble out of that group there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, I think my dark horse to win this event will be KJ Queen. Like, he's one guy that can scope them pretty well. I think he did decent there last year too, if I remember correctly. It might have been like a top 30. But I mean, he's having kind of a down year, but he's shown glimpses of hope. I know he's been going through like a lot of stuff behind the scenes, etc. So maybe he can turn it around and have a really good event.
I like it.
And it seems like whenever things get real tough for some of these guys is when they actually win and turn it around. And all of a sudden their career is just taking off at that point. So, but I know he needs to make do.
Yes.
Cliff Prince.
About to
Bill
walk away.
Owen. Ike Kennelly, the Classic was his last ever event that he won the first one, right? Like, he was done. So, like, happens at the oddest times sometimes. So, yeah. What do you think, Deacon?
What do I think about what?
Did you already say yours? I'm sorry.
Dark horse pick?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't. I think it's going to be someone for Greenfish maybe, or one of these rookies that just blows us out of the water that maybe hasn't been there before, but really is good at scope, right? So I don't have one necessarily, I guess.
I don't
Tyler
think any of
Williams
us.
on a jig.
Yeah, I don't think any of us took a rookie this round, did we?
That's a crazy thing. Holy cow, we
Yeah.
are screwed. What were we thinking?
Yeah, what's wrong with us? They own the top 10 in AOY points.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what the issue is? They're all in Group A.
That
So it's like-
is. If you
like-
look at the way the percentages are spread out in Group A, it looks like Group E. Generally, E is spread out because it's just blah.
Yeah.
Who do you pick? But A is the same way. There's not one true winner, really. 21%, 22, 7, 8. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like there's no one less than like 6 or 5% in Group A, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be a fun derby to watch. So yeah, and then is Thousand Islands next week, St. Lawrence?
I think they're doing back-to-back, aren't they?
To round out the season, I believe.
I thought.
So
we could do this again next week?
get to do it again next Monday, and might be me hosting again. I'm not sure if Bailey will be home, so he's got a brutal stretch of August ahead of him. Poor guy.
Cool. That's the last one too, right?
It is. For all the
Gosh, they're
marbles.
they're gonna be done early this year.
So in our little group, who realistically still is in it? Is this a Deacon and Andy?
Deacon has to forget to put his picks in.
It's closer than that. Let's be real. All right.
It is closer than that, I think.
I don't know. I'm trying to.
I know I have no chance.
Yeah, I think Deacon and I are fighting it out for like the top spot in both of them. And
Nice.
he's got a 300-point lead in fantasy fishing, and then in Drain the Lake, I think I have him slightly based on the score.
Based on his cheating maneuvers. So Andy, I think you keep winning because you think to yourself, or you've kept yourself competitive because you're like, man, these dark horses. I gotta keep picking these dang dark horses.
Yeah, maybe.
They're not dark
Well,
horses.
Maybe.
and I have no chance of ever catching up because Deacon just takes my picks anyway. So
That's true.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's weird how you're not in the same position as I am, but I keep picking your picks.
yeah, it's because of those 2 weeks that I didn't pick and sent my picks to Bailey.
Yeah, he just
All right,
keeps
that's one last low blow that I was willing to give up. I better get out of here now.
Yeah, it's fair enough. So anything else, guys, here before we wrap it up for the night?
Like that's it. Looking forward to following this one. I'm excited.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Bassmaster in a while. It's going to be diverse. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm going to have some free time this weekend, so I'm going to actually be able to tune in and watch a little bit of live. I got a little bit of a drive on Saturday. We're having this big family birthday party thing, like 3 hours from my house. It's going to be a grand old time. Can't wait. So,
Very cool.
oh yeah. Well, all right, guys. Well, we will see everyone next Monday. And side note for everyone who's tuned in here, I do not believe there will be a Serious Angler live tomorrow night. So stay tuned for that announcement. But until next
week,
time.
yeah. Business from the Bass Boat. We've got Mr. Rick Pierce, Bass Cat Boats. So tune into that one. It's a good one. He gets pretty detailed with things. So super neat stuff.
Fantastic. So awesome. And then anything from Kayak Fishing Weekly, Justin?
Yes, the episode with Jake Harshman is out on throwing big baits for smallmouth, and then dropping this week another smallmouth themed episode, basically finesse fishing for river smallies. So should be a fun one.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
stay tuned. I say stay tuned for the Lure Lab because I do not know the episode that will be out this weekend. So you will have to pay attention to that one. It'll probably be announced Friday night before the show. So, yep. But we'll see everyone next week on Monday for next week's fantasy fishing show for the St. Lawrence River to close out the season. And thank you to everyone who tuned in this week. And we will see you then.